can come out pretty well.
Don't forget to turn it on and off again.
We tried turning it on and off again. Oh my!
You know what? I'm not even going to say that anymore.
You are, in fact, watching The Dorkening.
You're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned.
For all the geek news everywhere. Dorkening.
And this is The Dorkening. Trust me, I'm smarter than these guys.
Because The Dorkening is the best and most educational entertainment and information source that the Trauma team knows of. It's the best. The Dorkening.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee died for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey, yes, Drew, I know we were live. The commercial was playing. Hey, welcome everybody to Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have a killer show for you today. Absolutely love it. I'm so excited about it. But we have Jar Jar. How's it going, bud?
Hey, welcome back.
Oh, welcome. Justin.
Hey, when does that movie come out? I think it's called Splash Pages. Damn.
Oh,
you love it, huh? Yeah. It took me a long time to put that together, Mr.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna wait for the Snyder cut of Splash Pages. Maybe that'll be better.
A lot of slow motion.
4.5 hours of cameos. A lot of slow motion. A lot of questionable acting. Moving on.
Yeah, Velvet. How's it going?
What's up, guys? You know what time it is. It's Tuesday night. So that much beats it's time for Splash Pages, podcast, a comic book club. And tonight we have a super exciting guest that we're so excited about. Tonight's guest is a journeyman actor, a husband and father, a voiceover artist that has been part of some legendary television movies, a vital part of 4 nerd-related properties. Hero to children everywhere, whether you know him as Barry from Friends, Stan from My Cousin Vinny, Donatello from TMNT, Ooey Gablooey from Doc McStuffins, or his most current character for 75 episodes, Demi on Vampirina, the great, the amazing, the talented Mitchell Whitfield.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you. Wow, yeah, the crowd's going crazy. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank
Thanks
you.
for giving us your time.
Hey, Rich, is it only 4 nerd properties?
Oh,
I
it's
thought
a
there was
lot
that-
more than that.
Yeah, I think there's because you got Legend of Korra.
Yeah, that's what I was
TMNT,
thinking.
I can't even name them all right
You know
now,
what,
dude.
though? I think it depends on how deep a dive into nerddom you're willing to go to rate. You know what I mean?
Zach and Cody, The Sweet Life. I mean,
Oh, boy. Can't escape that. God help me. Yeah.
Dude, you were on when my kids were watching it, so I got to watch you. It was kind of interesting.
Can I tell you something? Can I start off with like a fairly upsetting story real quick?
Oh, yeah.
So I went to Colgate University back in the mid 80s. And I hadn't spoken to my college roommate in years. Okay.
Set the mood.
And I had done a bunch of, as you so eloquently said, a bunch of movies, a bunch of TV shows over the years, and had my own series a bunch of times and done a bunch of films. And I did this one, or I guess it was a 2-part episode of Zach and Cody, right? And which has become, unfortunately, very well known. And I get this call out of the blue from my college roommate saying, "Hey, man, it's been a while. It's been decades. Hey, but I just saw you on Zach and Cody." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool, man." It's like, I did like a bunch of movies and TV shows, like Friends, My Cousin Vinny, a bunch of movies that people remember. You really get in touch with me from Zach and Cody. That's when, after decades, you decide that it's time to reach out and say, "Congratulations." He's like, "Well, we have kids." And they were really, I was like, "Oh, man." That's when I knew something bad was happening. So yes, that episode or those 2 episodes follow me everywhere. And it's cool because whatever people remember me for is always great. But I'm always surprised. Like, that's what people remember? I guess that's cool. So it's just one of those weird things. So yes, Zach and Cody, I should just embrace it.
Absolutely.
It's mainly because once we make that jump into parenthood,
I
it's
know.
like our whole lives. Like, I got to watch a kid last night go speak in front of the mayor of my town, and I was like, I'm wicked proud. I'm like, hey. But yeah, Zach and Cody, it's where it's at. You made it.
Lost, baby. Lost.
Absolutely. Now, Mitchell, in promoting this interview after you accepted, of course, we promoted it all over the place that we could. And because we are big fans of yours. And a parent reached out to me and said that they were a huge fan of Demi. And they wondered if you could, as Demi, just say hello or good evening to Nora and Thea.
Well, it's very easy for me to say good evening to Nora and Thea. Hope you enjoy the show and our deep dive into nerddom everywhere. Wow, I realize I sound like a combination of Paul Lynde and I don't know what, but Debbie's always fun to do. I feel like Mayor McCheese, that's who he sounds like. Tastes good,
That just cost us.
That was phenomenal.
I think you scared Drew off.
You know what? But it's so funny when you do voice work. I think one of the amazing things about, and I feel very fortunate to been able to do voices for years. I started over 40 years ago. And the great part of it, one of the joys of it is the anonymity, which as an actor is huge because we're used to being always judged by this. When you step into a room to audition for a film, TV show, doesn't matter. The second you step into the room, you're immediately, before you even say a word, you're being judged on what you look like. And that's just the nature of the beast. So I can still look like this and sound like that, or sound like, come on, cowabunga, dude, or sound like a turtle, or sound like a teenager. And the illusion, because it's just your voice, is brilliant. But I think there's a certain disconnect when people see you. It's sort of like reading a book, imagining your own version of that character, and then seeing that character in the movies all of a sudden. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't imagine that being that. And I think it's the same thing when sometimes you see the voices behind those animated characters. So it always sometimes I'll cover my face so people are like, oh yeah, now I know who you are. Because it can be there is a little bit of a disconnect between that voice and the image that you see on screen.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just put up a book while you're talking to him.
Exactly. Don't look at me. Just hear me.
Now, Mitchell, I was just curious. Now, I was not a huge Friends fan per se, But I was curious for the episodes that you did it bring any positivity or negativity to your life, whether that be via your career or your personal life?
Well, there were several episodes actually.
Yeah.
So
I was a Friends fan, by the way.
Were you really?
And
Yeah,
and
same.
you're hated in the Friends community.
You know, it's I think it's sort of like the character you love to hate. I'd like to think, because I have people, stop me in the street and say, "Hey, you're that jerk from Friends," and I'm like, "Yes." I mean, what else do you say other than a big yes with a smile? And like I said, sort of embrace it. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but I was actually up for the roles of Ross and Chandler. And it was down between me and one other guy for the role of Ross at the very end. And that one other guy was David Schwimmer. So, and which worked out perfectly because he was amazing and perfect for that role. And I never looked back and thought, oh, poor me, because I had done other stuff and moved on. It was great. But because they knew me from auditioning for those roles, that's why they offered me the part of Barry actually on the series. And, I'd say, I think it only affected my life positively because like we were talking about, any way that people know you, whether it's from Zach and Cody, or I have to say it like that from now on. When I'm talking normally, I'd say Zach and Cody. Whether it's from Zach and Cody or from that character in Friends, I think it's only a positive. Again, people embrace the show. They love the show. And it's become, here we are decades later talking about it. And I've been really super fortunate to be a part of like a few things that have had some legs that years and decades later people still talk about. So there's never really a downside to that sort of thing. Even if your character is kind of a lovable jerk, let's go with lovable jerk. So yeah, no, it's been wonderful. And I guess, work always breeds work, and people see you on one show. It's, oh yeah, let's go. I remember him. Let's bring him in for this. So there was always that positive sort of, that rolling factor of having one role propel you into another. And especially when there's high visibility in a series like there was with Friends. So it was all good. It was only positive.
Awesome. Very cool.
So, just real quick.
Sure.
Sorry, Drew.
That's fine.
We were actually talking about Friends the other day, where, like, growing up, I won't say my age, but I'm getting up there, and like
25.
growing up there, my comfort show was like Cheers and and MASH and whatnot. But
Blossom.
I was actually on Blossom too, so we won't even go there. We won't even go there.
For a whole generation, Friends has become that comfort show.
That's like 6 degrees of separation from Blossom. Oh wow, that's pretty interesting.
Creepy. No, but you're right. You mentioned comfort show, and I think, especially in times like today, where the world is, can I say shit show?
Oh yeah.
Sure. Please do.
Things are not great, and we're trying to get better hopefully as a planet and as a country and as just in general. I think having those things that give you joy, and I've talked about this before, just getting joy from different things. From me, like, there's so many, like my nerddom of collecting hot toys and board games and video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can dive deep, I promise. So having those things that give you joy and those comfort shows, for me especially, if I'm in the office unboxing a board game or, putting a new head and pair of hand positions on the hot toys, whatever I'm doing, I'll have my guilty pleasure or comfort shows, which always seem to be Fringe. Fringe is one of my favorite all-time shows.
That's a really cool show.
It's such a great show. And even though it's incredibly deep and requires attention, and once you've seen it 10 times through, like I have it in the background, and I'm doing other things. And for a lot of people, you don't even have to be sitting there just, actively engaged in your favorite thing, whatever it is. You can just sit there and have it sort of flowing all over you in the room, and it just gives you that. It's a form of comfort, like anything else. And that's just sort of like a passive way of getting joy, when you're sitting and winding down during the day. So I totally get it. And like I said, the fact that I'm a part of some of those, it's mind blowing. It's crazy. But I have my comfort shows too that I go, it's never Friends though. That'd be too self-serving. If I was on my own comfort show or if it was my own movie, I'd be like, oh, that's creepy. That's why I watch other people's. If you're like, do you watch your own stuff? I'm like, not that often. I'll go, oh, look how young and thin he was. Look at all that hair. Then I'll click it off. But otherwise, I get it. The comfort show is big. Please. As I'm like,
do you consider Fringe? Sorry, go for it, Drew.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I want you to finish your train of thought. You're talking.
I was just gonna say, do you consider Fringe a offshoot of X-Files? I could have sworn, like the first or second episode, they mentioned X-Files.
Did they?
I think did they make an actual reference to it? I don't remember. I mean, I think spiritually, a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's just an extension of that." but it's an extension of that. Other than that, it's a bureau of the government that's investigating weird stuff that can't be explained. But that's, I think, where the two shows part drastically. I didn't get into both shows. I really only got into Fringe, and it even took me a second watch to, I stopped after the fourth or fifth episode, and I was like, I'll come back to it. Came back to it a year or two later, and then I just went nuts. So I think if there are certain shows that are a little harder to get into, and if everyone listening comes upon a show like that, some of them are definitely worth revisiting because it takes that second watch, maybe being in a different mind space, or just, okay, I get it. And then once that train starts going, yeah. But I'm sure, I think spiritually I would consider the shows adjacent, but I don't know if it's supposed to be an exact offshoot. But yeah, I definitely get the comparison.
I thought they made a comment, Leo, about like the X-Files in there, like the X-Files existed as a show in that.
One of my favorite actors of all time is on that show. Eric, the actor, he passed away.
Oh my God! You're from the Howard Stern show, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember watching his head explode in the subway. Exactly. I know the exact episode. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, will there be remuneration when he wants to watch the thing and he wants some money? Oh, I remember the scene. I think I remember probably all the dialogue in every episode, which is a little sad and funny, but mostly sad.
This is fantastic.
Who would you cast yourself as then?
Ooh, there you go.
In what show? Any show?
In Fringe.
Well,
Fringe. Any show too, but I mean,
in
it's
Fringe.
Like,
you know what? That's when I was watching that show, I was hoping there was a part of it that I could just, whatever part it was, a guest star, whatever, anything to be in that show. And it didn't happen. I think it's like that with some of my favorite shows. I was never asked to be a part of some of the shows that I love, which is really fine. Because I don't look at and I think family and friends are more likely to see, oh, you would have been great now. Why aren't you in that show? Which is like the funniest question. Oh, I'll get on it right now. I'll make sure I'm in that show. Like it happens that way. But I think I love the fact that I can just enjoy those shows from a distance and not feel that attachment to them like viscerally, like I was a part of it. Because then I probably wouldn't watch it as much if I were on them. It would be a very different sort of dynamic with me in the show. But oh man, they could have cast me in anything in Fringe, and I would have been thrilled. I mean, the one part would have been, the observer would have been a little tough with the eyebrow makeup and the shaved head or the prosthetic. Most of them shave their head for it. But they could have cast me as anything in Fringe. I would have been one of Walter Bishop's treat holders. I would have given him like his cotton candy, whatever he wanted to eat, and just feed him. That would have been enough for me.
Mitchell, in '94, you something way more obscure of yours. You worked on the George Carlin show with the of course, George Carlin. You played Brian for that episode. What can you tell us about your experience working with George Carlin at that point?
It was amazing because I grew up. I would guess I'm the oldest of the bunch here. I grew up. I was born in the early '60s.
27.
I'll be pushing 60 here. And so I grew up listening to George Carlin albums. And, back when, listening to comedians' albums was, I don't know if people still do that anymore. Because, everything is streamable and you can watch concert footage. But listening to the albums growing up, that's how I listened to George Carlin. And then, of course, watching his specials. So I already was a huge George Carlin fan. And it was sort of a surreal experience. Being on the set with him as sort of a fan, and you can't help it. Even as a fellow actor, you have those fanboy, fangirl, fan person moments where you're just sitting there like, I'm on the set with George Carlin, and hoping you don't have that shit-eating grin on your face and look silly while you're just, fanning out. But it was amazing, and I didn't have much to do. I was like a guest star on the show. I didn't have much to do, but I remember on their set, they had these brownstone stoops. If I remember carefully, they had this set that sort of looked like where I grew up in Greenwich Village in Manhattan, in New York, where by Washington Square Park, they had these stoops, and it looked a lot like where I grew up. So I felt very comfortable there. And it gave me that New York feeling, of course, being with him on the set. And it was just great. As a George Carlin fan, I loved every second of it. I got to spend some time with him. He was great. Such an easygoing, generous guy, especially to act with. And it was amazing. Again, a little surreal for me, but amazing.
Nice. Very cool.
Crazy.
Okay. So I had one question. So I know, bringing up my cousin Vinny, which we talked about when we met a bit. I know that Joe Pesci reprised the character for his 1998 album, the Vincent LaGuardia Gambini song Sings for You. And he wore the same suit, which still cracks me up to this day, the Usher suit. Do you, as an actor, do you guys ever listen to your movie soundtracks? Do you ever sit down and listen and you think, hey, I remember when this song was playing? Like, do you ever, like, as an actor?
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. No, go ahead.
No, like, as an actor, do you ever, like, later on you're like, oh yeah, this is a movie soundtrack. Like you were in TMNT, and I was a pretty big fan of that soundtrack. Yep, that guy right there. Bigger fan than me.
There you
go. Like, the music is really great, and music is such a big part of movies. So,
right.
Like, do actors listen to their own soundtracks? I
don't. Let's put it this way. I have like a different take on that question because it's a great question. I don't go out of my way to listen to the soundtracks that often. Again, I tend to listen to the soundtracks of other movies more than my own.
Okay.
Because I've probably heard the soundtracks for my own movies more than anything else.
Right.
So, but what does happen for me is, again, and I use the word visceral a lot because there are certain things that will affect you viscerally. Smell, temperature, sound, and even like wherever I happen to be. I've lived now in California longer than I've lived in New York, which is really a weird thing as a New York guy. But I mean, you could have like a cool breeze hit you, and all of a sudden you have this reaction like, oh, I remember growing up and me being on the corner of 38th Street, and I had this feeling. So certain things bring you instantly back somewhere. And I think music and sound is one of those things. So what will happen is sort of a roundabout way of answering your question. I will hear a song from something that I did, and it'll be on the radio. It'll be in some other form of life where I will hear it, and I'm instantly not just brought back to the movie, but brought back to when we shot that scene that music was attached to, remembering everything that happened that day. And that happens a lot. It happens a lot for Dogfight, which is one of the lesser known movies that I did. It was an incredible experience, and I talk about a great soundtrack. If you ever go pick up the soundtrack for Dogfight, oof, great music. Again, it's different. But so I will hear music from a movie that I've done, and instead of like saying, oh, I'm going to go listen to that soundtrack, it just instantly brings me back to actually shooting the movie, making the TV show. So it's that strong a connection, and that's what I go back to. So I don't often go back and listen to the individual soundtracks, but I'm still affected when I hear it instantly by it.
So, and again, another question about my cousin Vinny, because you and Ralph Macchio's character are essentially arrested because you accidentally stole a can of tuna.
Yeah.
How are your feelings on tuna now? And have fans actually brought a can for you to sign?
I was, when we met in Rhode Island, I actually was given, I'm blowing up on Instagram. Is that one of you? So I was actually finally brought a can of tuna to sign for the first time. And it sort of made my agent say, you know what, when we go to these things, we should bring a shitload of tuna cans. You can sign a And I was like, that's actually a funny idea because it's not something I would ever have thought of myself, but fans have asked about it and asked particularly about that moment. I even joke with Ralph about it still. So you know what? I did finally, and I also signed my first green car from the movie, the actual replica of the car.
Oh, nice.
So I signed that for the first time too, although getting a bunch of those would probably be cost prohibitive, but getting a bunch of tuna, even if I go to Costco and get the Kirkland tuna, who cares? Signature to signature.
Oh, those cans are like this big, man.
You could feed a family of 12. That's one
guy walks out.
I'd be like signing it like this, right? My relationship with tuna has always been good, although it sort of has a laxative-like effect on me. TMI, I know, but if we're putting it out there, all I have to be to stay regular is have a tuna sandwich, and I'm good to go for a week. So there you go. I have a very complicated gastro relationship with tuna, but I'm not really upset by the idea of the horrors of being arrested for stealing one. I think I've gotten over it all these years later.
So now the other thing is that when we first met at Rhode Island, and I said your character's name correctly, you were stunned because apparently that doesn't happen often. So how often do you correct people about the Steens and the Steins?
You know what? I only do it for fun, really, because I do it in the movie. And I don't know if we talk about this in Rhode Island that I told you that was an ad lib?
You were, okay. We were just so impressed that you juror tapped me. You're like, good job. And I was just like, try not to laugh here.
So that was actually not in the movie. The Steen Stein thing was not in the movie. It was an ad lib that I did during one of my takes. Because, for the people that don't know how the process works, you'll shoot the same scene. I always tell people, people want to go on the set and watch movie making or watch television show being made. It's the most boring thing in the world.
Right.
You're just sitting around a lot, and you tend to shoot the same scene multiple times from multiple angles. Sometimes it's a master shot with everyone in the scene. Then you have the close-ups of the individual actors to get their reactions. And you'll have over-the-shoulder shots, 2 shots. So you're doing the scene over and over again. So it's always interesting as an actor, you understand why people want more control over editorial process and things like that, because the movie's really made once you've gone home. The director and the editor sit there and they can take multiple versions of that scene and cut it against multiple versions of the other scene. You could have a whole different movie. So you never know what's going to happen, right? So we're doing that scene over and over again. And finally, she says my name, and I'm annoyed at this point. I turned to Ralph. She said, it's Stein. And I got annoyed. And Ralph looked at me like I was an idiot, because here we are on trial for our lives being arraigned, and I'm more concerned with how she's mispronouncing my name. And it ended up staying in the movie, which I thought was really fun. So when people end up liking that moment, I'm like, oh, my ad libs. You know, that little patting myself on the back. But yeah, that was super cool. So when I correct people, it's more correcting them like I did in the movie, more than me getting offended by it. But I was still very impressed by your pronunciation.
Could have been a lawyer. Got it. Okay, great. Rich, did you have a question? I seem to call. Do you have a question?
Yeah, of course. I have plenty of questions.
But, I know that. You came with a book.
Oh, right. Oh, for Mitchell. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, Mitchell, we just watched my Harley and I your Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Oh, yeah.
Where you get the botched baptism.
Oh.
And you inadvertently started a rift between the Jews and the Christians in that episode. Exactly. It was like the Sharks and the Jets.
We should have burst into dance, but yeah, go ahead.
But first of all, your delivery and character in that was nothing short of brilliant. So I wanted to say that first.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Such a great job. So, but I had a couple questions about that episode. Number one, how much time do you end up in the water?
Okay.
Oh boy. That
was not fun. That was actually, there was a certain point where I was I'm ready to get out of the water now. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not I'm not a diva. I'm not difficult on the set. I enjoy what I do. And I know that we're very fortunate to get to play for a living and be well compensated for it. So I always hope that the people around me have a good attitude as well, because it's ridiculous not to. After being in the water for the length of time I was, and there were people around me if something went wrong. We were in the middle of Lake Castaic. It's really deep. It's like being in like a little mini ocean. And at a certain point, I was like, I don't think I could keep myself up in the water anymore. You better drag me in the friggin' boat. So by the time I got out, and I had that, I just remember that like pastel-y sort of shirt that I was wearing. It looked like waterlogged, and everything that came out of that scene was perfect. It was the perfect timing right after I got out of the water. So because I had really honestly had enough. And again, I don't know how much of this you know, but that show is improvised. It is not really a scripted show. So there'll be a scripted moment, kind of like an improv. They'll say, okay, here's an idea for this scene, go with it. And that's what a lot of the show is like. So we have these great improvisational moments, and what happens, and it varies. If you thought, it varied wildly in a movie that was scripted from take to take, imagine something that's completely improvised take to take. So, we got to, and thankfully I'm working off like these amazing actors that are amazing at improv. So it worked really, really well. But yeah, I was really not happy in that water, and I'll be very happy not doing another baptism scene again like that. I know they sometimes dunk you and they'll put, I'm not, I'm a horrible Jew, let alone Catholic or Christian. So I don't know how it works, but I think I'd rather do that. Thank you. I'd rather do the out of the water baptism if it's going to happen again on screen. It'll be a lot safer for me.
Well, clearly you use that aggravation in your stressing in your performance of being like, no, I do not want to do this again. And they're like, oh, we could just like dab some water on your head or put you in the tub. He's like, nah, I think I'm done with this. That was really your feeling. You were acting, but you were really not acting.
Hey, nope. It's like the scene of My Cousin Vinny when Ralph and I are walking down the corridor, going to our cells with our blankets and pillows. That was a real working prison with real criminals behind bars. And they were not saying what you heard in the movie. They were saying other things, and they were not nice. So when you see the look of horror on Ralph and my face as we're walking, just like, don't look, just keep walking, keep walking. That it was the real deal. So yes, sometimes bringing real life emotion, in its best form, that's really what you should be doing anyway. That emotion should be real. Oh, it was real. It was definitely real.
Oh yeah, and that was such a funny episode, because at one point Larry's like looking at the other Jewish guys, because there's half a Catholic family and half a Jewish family, and he's looking at him. He's like, and the Jews are like, you did a good thing. You messed it up. You did a good thing. And he's like, yeah, I did. I did a good thing.
Wasn't thinking of it that way, but it's like, okay. It was great. That one I've seen a couple times. It was very fun. It was a great show.
Yeah, it was really
great
funny.
show.
Now, did you get any direction from Larry David? What was your interaction with Larry?
Oh, he was great, and again, very easy to work with. I think so we talked a lot on the set, and we talked a lot in between takes, and there will be guidance. I mean, there's a director as well, but between the director and Larry, and also Jeff Garland, who played his manager, who was a friend of mine for years. We did our first TV series in Hollywood together. They'll, depending on how the improv goes, they'll say, okay, with this take, let's try and take it in this direction without giving you exact words or maybe a key line to get in somehow. So in between takes, he was very generous about wanting me to come off funny and wanting me to make sure I was having fun and that I got to say and do whatever I wanted to do. So again, really generous to work with and genuinely funny. He's, I mean, again, you see him on screen and, behind Seinfeld. I mean, the guy's a genius. So, I was happy to take the direction, happy to take the tidbits that he was giving me, because again, just having a little seed planted for an improvisational scene can completely change that moment and make something magical. So he was great. And I was happy to soak it all up.
Amazing.
There you go.
Thank you for sharing.
Well,
sure.
I was wondering, with all of that, doing voiceover, you've been doing it for 40 years now, as you said. You've gone through the experience of sitting down in a room with a bunch of people acting out scenes, to the point where now I'm probably sure you have a studio in your house or something of the sort where you sit there and you bust out a few lines and send it in.
Right.
How has that experience for you yourself personally, like how do you deal with that change?
I guess you're talking about like the concept of self-direction versus being in a studio with people telling you what to do. Oh, yeah, that's actually a really great question, and it's something that I'm kind of comfortable with, and I don't think it necessarily depends on your level of expertise or your level of experience in the industry, the number of shows that you've done. I've discovered that some people just don't like it. They don't like to record on their own. Without a director. They'd rather go in for the audition, because again, COVID kind of changed a lot of things for everybody, right? Obviously on a big, more important scale than just this. But for years I've been sending auditions in remotely and working from home. I would go in for the actual job most of the time. Sometimes I do it from home, but I loved auditioning from home. I love the autonomy of it. Again, especially living in Los Angeles, where it could take you 3 hours of driving to audition for 3 minutes. That equation didn't seem to make sense to me. So if I could do it, and I felt comfortable, I tried to be honest with myself about what a good take is, what sounds good. And again, for that, you have to sort of not just put your ego on the table, off to the side, but also have a good ear and be good at self-evaluating. When you're good, when you're not good, what's a good take, and when to stop. Because for some people, it's hard to self-direct because you get so obsessed with getting it right because, hey, I'm at home. I have the luxury of time. I could do this for an hour. And you're sitting there for an hour or 2 hours trying to get this one audition right, and it's endless, and it's a slippery slope. So I enjoy it, and I appreciate that, and I think to an extent, because I've been with my agent for so long, and I've come into their studios and auditioned so many times. They've been with me on the set or in a studio and seen me work so many times. I feel that I earned their trust in terms of self-direction. Or, I booked jobs on my own that I sent in from home where they're like, okay, I feel comfortable that Mitchell feels comfortable in this area. He puts out a good product. So I think part of it is that I earned that, not right, but I earned the ability to do that with my agent, with what I've done in the past. And also I'm comfortable with it. But a lot of people and a lot of super talented, amazing voice people don't feel comfortable doing it. It's just a matter of how comfortable you are doing it and if you're allowed to. So I've been very fortunate in that way.
Well, not only with your voice acting, you've done almost 400 episodes of your radio show on Sirius XM.
Oh my God, is that long? Good God.
You know, in the research that I've done, you're definitely, you know, a geek. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. What's the coolest toy? Your coolest toy?
Oh man.
What would you say? Like, take anything, but don't take this.
My most functional daily toy, believe it or not, is my iPad. And I know it's not new, it's not shiny, it's like everyone's used to them now. I still think it's one of the greatest things ever made because it took consumption of media, communication to the next level, even more than our phones did. So for me, it's the iPad. But I have to tell you, my Quest 2 Oculus still blows my mind.
Oh, that's cool.
Dope.
And even though we're still waiting, I know they just put the Pro out, which we're going to see a lot of that technology coming out in the new year for the what are they going to call it? The Meta Quest 3, I guess, whatever they call the new one, which is going to be the consumer version. I can't wait to see how they apply that tech to that new one. But I'm still blown away by virtual and augmented reality, how it works. And again, I know the technology, I know intellectually how it works. And then I put on that headset. And my wife, of course, passes the room, and I just hear her go, "Oh boy, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I'm reaching around, I'm doing things.
So many walls.
Oh my God! I hit my head. I mean, I've had I call those unattractive injuries because they're not fun to explain, and then you have to laugh at what an idiot you feel like for having done it. But to me, that headset, especially at that price point, what it's able to do. And it doesn't even have the shiniest, prettiest processors or, you know, the OLED displays for each eye. We're not even up to 4K in that yet, but it's so good. That to me is one of my favorites, just because to me it's like magic. And when you put it on someone that's never seen VR at all, and it's mind blowing. Even just sitting like watching,
the
Netflix,
Jurassic Park thing that they have on there. That
I know with the T-Rex. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
When you're coming in over the Universal sign and it's over the planet, and you're just like, "Oh my God!" It's amazing.
There's also a demo where you're up on the Empire State Building in Manhattan, and you have to walk a plank. Okay, and you walk a plank, and you see under you the entire city, and it's really well done. I can't tell you. I've yet to have a person do that is willing to step off, even intellectually knowing that it's VR.
You're on the ground.
They will not step off that friggin' plank. And it's just a testament to how powerful that technology can be. You know, again, that disconnect between your brain knowing and your mind going, "Nope, not doing it. Not me, not here. Nope, not getting off the plank."
For this
need Harrison
lawnmower
Ford.
man, and I'm just like,
Lawnmower Man.
Oh, I'm telling you.
The great Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, it's like, get Jeff Fahey on the line.
Oh yeah. Also on Fringe, by the way. Everyone was, but sorry, go ahead.
Fringe, the Law and Order of sci-fi shows.
Exactly. Seriously.
I actually have a piggyback off of something Drew had said.
Sure.
They do
welcome.
these superlatives in high school, right? With who is the best singer and all that. And I can tell you, the year that it came out, the songs from Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, we campaigned to make that the #1 male singer for the year, Southington High School class of '99.
That would have been classic.
Yeah, and I mean, he sings in Italian. I think he sings in Spanish, and I think it's Portuguese.
Do you know, I've never even heard it. I've never heard it.
It's actually really good.
I know he's a musician. I know he's a performer musically too. But now you maybe now of course I'm gonna have to seek that out. So, and then I'll come back on the show if you'll have me back. God help you.
Oh, we'd love
And I'll say
that.
I listened to that album. And it was amazing.
You got that pass back, man. You got that boomerang.
Thanks, man.
You can. We'll throw it out. You come right back. Like, hey, like you didn't mess this up. I know, right? Great.
Oh, God.
I don't know if he would want to come back, because I got a totally fucked up question to ask you.
Oh, jeez.
Leo,
I want to come back more after hearing it. Go ahead.
Leo, we're not even at 40 minutes, man. Come on.
Minutes about Blossom.
Okay, so
All right, fine.
there is a crazy fan theory out there that my cousin Vinny, that's actually Aunt May. So that links my cousin Vinny with the MCU. Again, crazy, fan theory. If that was true, where would Stan be today in the MCU?
Wow, you went there.
Working for Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
Go.
Bravo, sir.
Wonderful. You know what?
Bravo.
Everybody, Rothenstein that MCU style, my dude. Just get there.
Yeah.
You know.
And I by the way, I happen to really like the crossover between Daredevil and She-Hulk in the She-Hulk
right.
series. I don't know how
yeah.
you guys feel about I enjoyed the show, but I really enjoyed it. Made me, because Daredevil was great. I also got to hang out with Vincent D'Onofrio. We actually did our first movie together. Vincent D'Onofrio and I did our first movie. Again, another crossover with the MCU. We did our first movie together. It was a trauma film. Let's leave it at that.
Hey.
Nice.
And I saw him for the
approved.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So I saw him for the first time in person in 40 years. And
Rhode Island,
we
right?
sat down and I reminded him of the movie, and we sat and talked for about 15 minutes about that movie. And because it's so going back to like just Daredevil in general. Sorry, I'm making it about my
No, you're fine.
Daredevil was an amazing show. It's a hard watch. That's how I explain it to people. It's not for everyone because it's a hard watch, but I loved it. And I liked seeing that other side of it in She-Hulk, that other side of him, which you got to see a little bit, but he was so beaten down throughout that series. It was good to see him not that way in She-Hulk for a little bit.
Well,
but yeah, I think Stan would definitely be.
Well,
I don't know if he'd be working the law or working as his helper at night, but somehow Stan would be there.
The thing being with Mitch, the thing being with Matt Murdock is it always comes down to writers, because some people just want to do the noir, brooding, plagued by Catholicism, guilt, dressed like a devil, beating the shit out of criminals and ninjas.
Right.
And then some people really get the silver age of him down, kind of like the swashbuckling. He's a lawyer, but he has a decent time. It's basically before the 80s came on and Frank Miller was like, I'm going to fuck all of you up. Like,
I'm talking about Mark Waid right now, then, right?
Yeah, exactly. See, Mark Waid was like, okay, I'm gonna have some fun with this and have some humor. And they were like,
on Silver Surfer's surfboard. Why not? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, nope, we don't like silly Daredevil. We must have super tragic Daredevil. And I'm just
that was the show, yeah.
Thanks, Marvel. Thank you for doing what you always do. We make some progress, then no, we're gonna go back. We lost some people. We want to try to get them back. We're gonna lose more, but we're still gonna make the money. So
yeah, I get it. And that I think that's one of the reasons why I was so happy to see the lighter side a little bit, just because that show was so dark. And like I said, I don't want to get away from the fact that I loved it as much as I did.
Oh, it's great.
But man, it was dark. So it was good to see him like not bleeding too much and just, just enjoying sort of the lighter side of the MCU a little bit. So
Mitch, I understand. Anytime I'm walking in a long hallway, I'm just thinking, could I fight for an entire hour and not really give up? And I
was exhausted watching that, actually.
Yeah, that made everybody feel very less fit. I'm like, okay.
That was more effort than the Battle of Winterfell.
Damn, you just went there.
Yeah, I went there.
Yeah, that's a good go.
Mitchell,
actually.
in TMNT,
yes.
Did you get to sit down and do a read with those other actors? Because that cast was insane. Chris Evans, Patrick Stewart, Lawrence Fishburne, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Kevin Smith, Billy West, Jen Cummings, Frank Welker, Tara Strong. It was insane. So did you get to sit down with all those people?
No, it was actually the Four Turtles. It was me, Mikey Kelly, James Arnold Taylor, and Nolan North. So the four of us were together recording the whole time. So they wanted the Four Turtles together, and then the other people worked individually, which was very interesting, because I will tell you that for the most part, as a voice actor, especially whether you're doing a movie or an ongoing series act, obviously, having the cast in the room is invaluable. Having everyone there is huge, because you're going to find things. You're going to be working off of each other and finding that rhythm. And when you do, certain magical things happen that are not necessarily going to happen if it's just you working by yourself with a microphone in a studio, whether it's a home, in a fancy suit, doesn't matter. You're going to get the best out of that production by having everyone there. So I think we had to settle for at least having the four of us there together and having that dynamic work really well. Because again, with a lot of these shows, a lot of movies and TV shows, you don't have the luxury of time to establish relationships with the people that you're working with, that you're supposed to have a lifelong relationship with. So anytime that you get together and have that time and you click and it's like, okay, there's a rapport here. Thank God we can do this. So we were sort of thrown together pretty quickly, and then boom, off in the studio we went. So I remember we were recording one of the days that we, because we would have like, I don't know, like 6-hour days in the studio, and we did a few of those. I remember one of the voice directors, we were talking in between takes and we were joking around, and someone hit the microphone and said, "Hey guys, keep it down in there." And I was thinking to myself, first of all, you have a button that can mute us all. You can turn us down manually yourself. Okay. But the other thing was, here were 4 guys playing brothers in an iconic franchise that didn't really know each other. And it was those in-between take moments of joking around when we were bonding and finding our rhythm and finding our humor together. And, I went into the studio and I talked to her about it, because it's like, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. I said, I understand. I said, number one, if we're being too loud, I apologize. I said, you can always turn us down. But that banter that is like loud to you, that's us bonding in there and trying to make a really good, trying to make a group of guys sound really good for you. So if you could hit the mute button, if we're bothering you, just turn us off and let us go a little bit in between takes, because that's how we're sort of forming these relationships. And she totally understood. It was great after that. But so how dare an actor speak up, right? But it was important. Aside from the humor of it, where it's like, you're telling us to be quiet when you could just hit the mute button. It's one button and we're dead silent. I don't get it. It didn't make sense. But it didn't make sense, more importantly, from a creative standpoint, where you want that rapport. You want that for, again, if we were being jerks and like being disruptive, that's a different story. That wouldn't be cool. But in this case, I thought it was helping us,
Classic Donatello, you solve a problem analytically with technology.
With technology, right? That's why he's the coolest freaking turtle.
Boom. So before our resident shellhead takes over this one, that's the gentleman above you.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, Mitch, you've got to work with so many people, and Fred Gwynn. When we talked about Sergeant Bilko, you talked about getting to work with Phil Hartman,
right?
And then TMNT. I don't know if you got to meet him, but you got to work with Mako, who that was his last role.
I know,
before he passed away. So, what was that like?
This is going to be the shortest story in history.
Great.
We did not work together. Anyway, next question. No, he was so. It was literally just the 4 of us. Every other person there pretty much recorded on their own or maybe in pairs, but that was it. We didn't get to see. So I feel like you, I feel like I missed out on that, especially as a fan, number one, but also, looking back now, of course, his last performance, which was sad. I know he couldn't promote the movie and there was a lot going on toward the end, which is of course sad and horrible. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to do that. And I really, because you're not the first person to ask. And I'm like, I know, I wish I could have, but they kept us separate. Maybe after I had that outburst of, you let us talk. That's how we're bonding. Could you imagine if I sounded like Demi the whole time? What are you doing? We're trying to make a show here for you. A movie picture movie. So
we were going to bring in Sarah Michelle Gellar. No.
Yeah, everybody, come on.
Now, Mitchell, you guys get together maybe at a premiere possibly, or not even that?
No.
Wow.
I did not. No, not at the premiere, because I think he was not well then.
Yeah.
I don't think he was at the premiere, or else I would have. I don't know if trying to think, because it was at the Chinese theater. Was it the Grauman's or the Mann's, or they had different names for it over the years. It might have been a Mann's at the time. And I saw the Dog Whisperer there. And Cesar Millan was there, and I got to meet him, and it was super cool. I think I was more excited about meeting him than anything else, because I knew what the movie was like. I'd seen the movie, but it was also really the premiere, aside from not being able to see, some of the other actors. It was what?
He kind of scares me. Like he's so like powerful.
Like his mind can suddenly make you start sitting up and barking.
All of a sudden I'm going to be sitting there.
Like the
he's going to be like,
Beastmaster,
sit,
right?
Jeremy. I'm like,
exactly. Exactly. You don't move. Aside from like missing out on seeing some of the people I would have loved to have met in person that I didn't get to work with in the studio, my big takeaway from that is that my son got to go to the premiere. So, my kids were either too young or not born when I was in my heyday in film and TV stuff. So to have them be a part of that, to have at least my son be there with me, was really cool. And he was, I think he was probably impressed meeting the Dog Whisperer too. Cesar Millan impressed everyone. Whatever. I was Donatello.
Damn right you were.
Yeah, you were.
Okay. You're still
I
here.
was. There you go. Thank you.
Absolutely. I got your back. No problem.
Thank you.
Justin, do you have any questions about anything in particular of a shelled pizza eating persuasion, perhaps?
So It's clear from talking to Mitchell for a while that Donatello is the clear choice. Did you audition for any other turtles?
No, I don't think so. I think I actually got to know Galen Walker is one of the producers, and we were actually in a martial arts class together. And he's like, "You're an actor, right? You do a lot of voice work." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm doing TMNT. I'd like to have you audition for." I was like, "Great." And I think I did one reading, and it was for Donnie, and that was that. It happened that quickly. I think part of it was I knew him personally. I think that didn't hurt in terms of getting in the door. And then they liked what I did. And then I think it became, maybe more of a fight because when it comes to voice work, and if they do this a lot, and I understand it and I don't understand it. They want to get as many names in as they possibly can because I think in the movie world, obviously having celebrities sells tickets, right? In the voice world, we know some of our favorite animated shows. We know who those actors are, not because they were necessarily celebrities, because we like the performance. We want to find out who did that, who is that amazing voice in that. And I think with animation, it's about the script and it's about the animation and the performances of the voice, not necessarily so-and-so is starring as that funny looking dog in this movie. And I think it's the name value is less important than people realize, although there are wonderful celebrities that are amazing voice actors.
Right.
But I think that the need for the studio, the mindset of we have to have names in these roles because that's the only way it's going to be successful. I don't think that's true. And I think there have been enough animated shows that just did really well because they were brilliantly written and performed and animated. And if they happen to have celebrities, wonderful. But did they need that to the studio? So I think the studios sort of learned that over the years. But again, it's Hollywood. So if you can get a celebrity in there and they're amazing at what they, at the voice acting as well, fantastic, like the perfect storm. But what was the question?
You're doing great.
Does anyone remember?
You're doing great.
I was asking you if you had auditioned for any other turtle. So.
Okay, so I did answer. Okay, good.
Yes,
that was really that was my senior moment. We'll call that my senior moment. Yeah.
Well, just real quick. Speaking of what you're just talking about, celebrities and trying to fit them into different roles and everything. Perfect example is the fallout from the new Mario movie.
So tell me, bring me up to speed on that because I'm not up to speed.
Oh, Star-Lord is supposed to be Mario.
But he's not doing.
I did hear about this.
Yeah, but he's not doing the Italian accent. So everybody's just like, the hell? And the people are very divided by it because some people are like, oh, it'll still be fine. But some people are like, he's Italian. Why aren't you, hey, Mario,
It's a me, Mario.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the biggest critics against it was someone that was actually at Rhode Island with you, Mitch. It was Tara Strong, who posted a photo with the original voice actor for Mario and just said it should have been Charles. And I was like, wow, way to just kind of say your piece, but then just not.
Well, let me ask you this. Was it because he wasn't Italian-American or because he didn't fit the part, or was it a little bit of both?
Well, Chris Pratt right now is dealing with a lot of heat from people because of his religious views.
Okay.
And that pretty much has brought a lot of, if we go back a couple of years, Chris Pratt was everybody's darling. He was in Jurassic World. He was Star-Lord.
Absolutely. He's great.
But now
I think it's more I think it's more that Charles Martinet has just been solidified as the voice of Mario for so long.
Right.
And anybody that's a Mario fan, we know who we are. We buy the new Nintendos because it's going to have a new Mario and it's going to be Charles voicing them,
That's the whole thing. It's the recognition factor. And that to me is an example of that voice is as much a star of the show as anything else in terms of recognition.
Right.
That's, not to say that the voicing, we're the most, I remember years ago when we were trying to get better contracts for voice actors. And I remember I had people on the negotiation committee that were talking to me saying, we're the stars of these, these video games. And it was like, no, there's a guy that hasn't had human contact in 5 years who's been coding in a closet. He's the star. We bring a little bit more to it we make it a little better, but don't kid yourself. We're not the stars.
3 years.
Yeah. So there's like a healthy dose of reality mixed in with that. However, with some characters, yes, there that who wouldn't want to hear that voice? Absolutely. And again, it's this skewed idea of Hollywood thinking here is what we need. And I don't necessarily agree with it. I know it happens all the time, But yeah, wouldn't it be great if all the, and listen, my buddy, do you know Roger Craig Smith, an incredible actor? He's the voice of Sonic for years before they changed for the movie. Now they went back to him for the game, the new game. He's the voice of Captain America, Ezio, and Assassin's Creed. He's amazing. And
voice, not the name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, if you look up Roger Craig Smith and look up what he's done, you'll go, oh my God, he's that. He's amazing, super talented guy, and he had a really good perspective when they ended up changing and going to, in their minds, a celebrity move for the Sonic movie, and he was totally cool about it. Yes, and he said like Ben is a super nice guy. He's good actor. He's good in the role, but the fans went crazy because when you play that game or when you watch the TV series,
right,
and it's not the same voice, even it doesn't matter good or bad. It's like, why aren't you just being consistent? Why the need to feel that you make the move to, oh, is this going to make the movie do better because you put this person in there? So
yeah. And then perfect example of that is when they then did Sonic 2 and they had Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who again was also at Rhode Island. She was the voice of Tails. And she came back and she did a great job. Everybody loved it. I think also, like you said, sometimes it's when characters that you don't see very frequently, like Idris Elba was the voice of Knuckles, and he kind of had like a Drax thing going, and it worked, and it was hilarious. I was like, wow, you got 3 animated characters versus Jim Carrey's Robotnik. Like, boy, this would be a good movie. But
you can act against the wall.
Yeah. I mean, I also agree with you because, again, we in the nerd community, we lost recently. We lost Kevin Conroy, who is, as we all know, that's who the Batman we hear.
That's Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's not saying that other people who have also voiced Batman, and there have been countless in animated films and whatnot. Not like they didn't do their job, they didn't do whatnot. But like you said, unfortunately, no matter whoever's going to be Batman is going to have to think in their head, how can I measure up to Kevin Conroy?
Yeah, and to be fair, just to give you a little more insight into like the film world out here. And again, I don't mean to be condescending if you already know this, stop me, but it's like whenever there's a new version of something, okay? For example, we did TMNT, the movie, right?
Right.
I was a Donatello for that. We come back, and I think that's where Nickelodeon decided we're going to make TMNT the series, right? And they didn't want the 4 of us to be their 4 turtles. Now, I'd like to think it wasn't because we butchered it or we were horrible or they didn't like the way we sounded. And when I heard, it's like, oh, okay, they want to audition you guys to play the turtles. I was like, oh. Now, again, I'm not trying to big time everyone. It's like, I don't audition. Do you know who I used to be? It's not like that at all. But if I just played the part in the friggin' movie, if you want to use
had the audition.
If you there's an hour and 42-minute audition, right, however long it was. If you don't like that voice, that's totally cool. Hire someone else. I don't begrudge you that.
Right.
But the second they wanted to make us audition for that, I was like, oh, we're not getting these roles, and now they're going to shame us because now we have to go in. So and I went in for the audition. Okay, Mitchell, you're here for Donatello. I'm like, yeah. And again, I felt dirty because I knew it was just not a courtesy meeting, and but to not support them, but just as one of these, this is the way it is moments, not necessarily the way it should be, but the way it is. When a new production company or a new team, a new network, a new producer, a new director comes in to an existing project and a new version, a new chapter in that story, the first thing they do is put their own stink on it. They want their people. That's what they do. They're going to bring in their writers. They're going to bring in a voice. Maybe they're going to go back to the 80s animated version, bring back some of those actors, which they did, who were amazing. But that's what people do when the first thing they want to do is we're going to put our stink on it. So you'll know this is not that. This is this. This is my version of it. And I want it to be a little bit different. And here's how we're going to do that. So again, I have to sort of take my ego out of the equation, which I'm usually pretty good at, even though I should never have auditioned. I should have said, no, it's cool. If you want to not hire me, that's cool. Or just listen to the movie. I'm good with that. Yay. And not go for that embarrassing sort of, hi, this is Mitchell Whitfield, Donatello, scene 1. But intellectually, sometimes that has to supersede the emotion and go, okay, this is why. And you understand it and you don't, I think the best skill as an actor you can have is to categorically forget yesterday happened. That's probably the best tool in your tool belt, because if you can't do that, if you can't shake off the shit and the garbage that's happened in the past, you'll be mired in that for years. So it's one of those things where, okay, intellectually, I get it now. I know why they do it. It still sucks, but at least you know why, right? I feel like I should be lying on a couch. Like you guys are good therapy. For
Yeah,
me.
he is. Yeah.
Go on, guys. This feels really good.
And it's funny, Mitch, that you bring that up because I remember a story that Ernie Hudson said when he auditioned to play Winston in the real Ghostbusters cartoon, based on the movie, and they're all telling him how to sound and be like
directing him, right? They're directing him.
Yeah, they're directing him to be Winston Zedmore, and he was like, "Do you it's like one of those, like you said, like you said, I have an hour and 30 minutes of proof that I know exactly how Winston Zedmore did." And it's even funnier because Maurice LaMarche, when he went in, they were like, "Oh, don't do a Harold Ramis impression," and he kind of did one, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, you're good," and he was just like, "Don't listen, got it, okay."
Please, you know how many times, and this is again, if you've been around the block enough times, and if you trust yourself and you trust your instincts, which an actor should, to always be open to direction. But always, you have to, there are those moments where, you can be directed out of a great choice. You can be directed out of a great audition in terms, or a great performance in terms of the voice world. So sometimes there are somebody like, okay, you know what? Could you just do I'd like you to have a little bit more of a Bulgarian sound with a little hint of AstroTurf under your feet. What? And you have to translate, number one, you have to translate what that means. And then even better, ignore it and say, I know exactly what you mean. Do the same thing you did. And they say, exactly. Because sometimes people just want to be heard. More than anything, sometimes people just want their direction to be heard. And that's enough. There are people like that. I'm not saying I'm always open to great direction. I've worked with great directors that, again, I in no way do I feel like I have all the answers. And I'm always open. But sometimes you have to be able to know the difference when, okay, I'm about to be directed out of getting this job. So I have to say, I know exactly what you mean. Do exactly what you want to do. And they'll say exactly what I wanted. Thank you. Perfect. Great direction.
So I have another question about Justin. Do you have any more TMNT questions? Because I don't want to stray away from that. So, I want to give you your fill.
So on my show, Epic Tales from the Sewers, I actually do kind of a reenactment of the comics, and I do it in the voices with Donatello, Leonardo, all of that. So do it for fun. And the goal is you could listen to this with your kids if you wanted to, and this is what's happening in there. My question is, when you're doing your Donatello, what's at Donnie's core for you? Like what's Donatello about as a character? Like what drives him?
He's pragmatic. He doesn't, again, I think he is a character that sort of takes his ego off the table a little bit and looks at things clinically and gets things done the way they need to be done. Now, whether or not he's the guy or whether he comes off as the hero or not, he just looks at things very intuitively and says, okay, here's a problem. Here's how we solve it. And I think that's one of the things that I really liked about that character, that he was not really ego driven. He was more practical. And again, when he ended up being the hero in certain situations, I think it was even more fun because that wasn't the point. That wasn't the reason the choice was made. The choice was made to look, here's what we have to do. I'm telling you, just trust me, here's what it needs to be. So, and I really appreciated that straightforward approach because I think that's the way I sort of solve things in my own mind. In general, I'd like to think I'm more founded in common sense than anything else. At the end of the day, I think common sense will almost always win out. And I know the joke that it's a very uncommon thing these days. I'd like to see more of it, and it's true. And I think it was that approach, that character's approach to things, I bonded with instantly. I was like, oh, thank God I was Donnie. Because they'll look at things, okay, well, here's what I do. Okay, just do this. Oh, yeah, we could do this, but here's what we have to do. And I mean, even in that voice, it just sort of happened naturally for me. So that for me was sort of the crux of the character that I sort of leaned on. And because it was close to me, I feel like it made it easier. It just became, it was more natural for me. So does that answer your question?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a similar thing. I had recently met and spoke with Barry Gordon, and he had kind of some similar things to say. Not a big tech guy, but I mean, we didn't realize that he was reading law books and getting his degree while he was doing the Turtles, and then went on to be the SAG president. And I'm like, okay,
crazy, right?
Total Donnie. He's like, I had no interest in any other one. I'm like, oh, okay.
He's great. Yeah. I remember him. He did a movie with Jason Robards called 1,000 Clowns when he was a kid. It might have been one of his first movies ever. And I ended up doing the play as my first professional equity play. So I had that again. It's like, 6 degrees, right? So,
and you worked amazing with Robbie Rist too. So there's another connection.
Yes, I know. And I mean, I've worked, oh God, I'm trying to think who, there's so many other, well, there aren't that many other turtles, that many other Donatellos. But Sam Riegel, I know, and I've worked with. Who else? Oh, there are a bunch of them. I'm sure they'll come to mind. And I'm gonna have to start. It's gonna bother me. I'm just gonna look it up. Oh, you're one of my friends, Yuri Lowenthal, another amazing actor, who I also saw, who was at Rhode Island with us too. But
big name
in
anime guys.
Yeah. So Donnie, I'm part of a long and proud. And I told Yuri, actually, I was like, every once in a while, I'll look online, I'll go Donatello voices, and there was a ranking, like rank your favorite voice of Donatello. And I looked. I'm not gonna lie, I looked. You know, some people
beat Corey Feldman.
I beat Corey Feldman in certain ones. So there were a few people there were a bunch of people that had me like between 3 and 5, and then some people had me top 3. There are a few that had me at number 1, which made me feel very good, which is odd. Seeking validation through the interwebs. Who does that?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, so I said to Yuri, I was like, you know, the same people that liked my voice liked yours, so we must have a similar sort of sound, or, you know, he has a little bit of that lighter kind of sound, that young hero. He's the voice of Spider-Man, so of course. But yeah. No, I'm very proud to have been a part of that Donnie fraternity.
So speaking of that, I mean, you know, we're of an age where, you know, No Way Home Spider-Man had, you know, 3 different Spider-Men meeting up. If somebody pitched you, and we've seen this, there was a crossover that had the 80s Turtles meeting the more modern versions of themselves. If somebody threw you an idea that had your Donnie meeting like the League of Donnies, are you like, son of a bitch, I'm in? Like, let's
dude, where's a scenario that I would ever say no to that? What kind of an escaped lunatic? No, of course, I'd be all over that. I'd be all over that. And I mean, that would be so awesome. And you know, I told I don't know if we talked about this when we hung out a little bit in Rhode Island. I know you were really busy. You were going around doing a lot of stuff, but my biggest concern when I found out I was doing that movie, after, you know, the excitement set in of knowing, oh, I'm going to be Donatello in a franchise that I love, my family, my brothers. I have younger brothers, much younger brothers, actually. My dad never knew when to quit. So I'm glad he didn't, though, because I love my brothers, so they're great.
They're mitzvahs.
But I remember,
they're mitzvahs, Mitchell.
It's a mitzvah, exactly. As an older father, it's a mitzvah. Mazel, exactly.
It's all good. No worries. Bobala, calm down. It's fine. Don't.
So when I found out I got the part,
listen,
I was like,
you're schwitzing. Calm down.
Oh,
it's going to be fine. Please. Calm down. Shabbat this weekend. Calm down.
Oh my God. Yeah. Again, yeah, like mixing it up for Thanksgiving, right? So once I got over the excitement, I actually was a little, I hope I don't screw this up. I bet I don't want to be the Donatello that everyone hates, because again, there was sort of like, there wasn't pressure, but there's the weight of, this is an existing franchise, a beloved franchise.
Yeah.
It's had some amazing voice actors, do some amazing stuff that people really love. It's like, It doesn't matter if I'm the best. I just don't want to mess it up. I don't want to be the worst Donnie. I don't want to go online and say, oh, Whitfield's number 9, or however many Donatellos there were.
Right.
So yeah. If there was a multiverse of turtles, oh yeah, sign me up.
There you go.
Awesome. I know we totally want to be respectful of your time. We'll wrap things up shortly. Just wanted to make sure that we touched your dork side a little bit. I know that sounds a bit.
I don't know if you can say that in 2022, but go ahead.
Leo, we want him back. Why do you keep doing this?
Because he already offered. He's locked in.
It does say produced by the Weinstein Company.
Oh, jeez.
We can't.
You did pull the turtle togetherness though with the Weinstein Company, so I mean there is that whole thing. So very well done, sir. Well done.
All right, Leo, ask.
I like to watch things burn, sir. That's good.
Don't make me pull out my Hot Toys.
Oh boy.
Actually,
of course, we definitely want you to come back anytime you're promoting anything new, or if you just want to chat about some nerd stuff. I mean, you were amazing and super
I want
great.
To see his Hot Toys.
Really nice meeting you at Rhode Island.
Like me and Justin are like
super gracious. And let's not forget, you got my most viral TikTok by like almost double, 6,240 some odd views in like a week.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And
I wish it was because
of your name
me
on TikTok. We're the first video that shows you. So
Dylan Dog fans, no doubt.
Oh, Dylan Dog fans, both of them.
Yeah, I'm one. Me and Kurt Angle, that's it.
You're the two guys that paid to see it in the movie, were you? That was fantastic in the movie theater. That's fantastic. And I had so much fun. Okay, a little bit. I'll leave you with this. Okay,
go for it.
A little bit of geekdom, because we all hear it. I think Henry Cavill made it famous, right? For being a gamer and an actor, and like sort of trying to balance those two things. So I remember when I got Dylan Dog, actually, Kevin Monroe, who directed TMNT, was the director of Dylan Dog. I don't know if you guys knew that. So you probably did because you did. So he's like, okay, I'm shooting this movie. You're going to be doing this part. I'm like, oh, great. I get to play like an undead coroner. What a great role. That's awesome. So we're going to fly you out to New Orleans. Great. So I remember it's like, I'm in New Orleans. This is great. I have to go to Cafe Du Monde, get my beignet, do the whole thing. It's like, shit, I'm playing Warcraft tonight. I have a big 25-man raid. What am I going to do? No, this is like so sad. And I'm like, okay. And everyone else in my guild had their epics, and I was going to get my epic bow, and I was really excited. It's like, okay, so I was like, okay, I'm going to leave my laptop here. I'm going to get a cab down in the hotel. He's going to take me to Cafe Du Monde. I'm going to get my beignet. I'm going to eat them in the cab and then go back upstairs. Well, the poor cab driver, he says, I said, can you take me there? He said, no problem. I was like, can I eat in the cab? Yes, of course you can. So my guild is waiting for me. We're about to go in, and we're at the end of the friggin' raid. I get in the cab. We go to Cafe Du Monde. I get my bag, and I don't know if you've ever had this. It's filled with powdered sugar. When I got out of that taxi, it looked like a Coke party had happened in this cab. I was covered from head to toe, and I'm like trying to like get the sugar. I looked like I was tweaking. I mean, it was terrible. And I'm getting. I'm glad no one's
over here.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It's a great ride. Great. And I'm like, it's like it was awful. So that was my memory of along with having a great time and getting to see Kevin Monroe, who I love. He's a great guy, and working together, Brandon Routh. It was great. It was a good time. But me having to make my Warcraft raid covered in white powder, just shaming myself. And like people were like, what's wrong with you? Because they didn't know why I left. I was like, just wait, hold the raid, don't start. So yeah, I managed to inject a little bit of geekiness into every piece of work that I do.
That's fantastic.
That's the dream. That's the dream. Leo, didn't you
like
have
to
a
think I'm
question
living
you
it.
wanted to ask?
Well, no, I
He was going to ask more about Dylan Dog or maybe Duck.
No. You mentioned Hot Toys. What was the last figure that you got?
Last figure that I got would probably be Iron Spider from the PS5 video game.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Okay. Hold on. Jesus.
Yeah, always gonna have to show off. What a nerd. We all do this.
It's my favorite part of the show.
Yeah,
I already had
this
this one. Oh wait, it's like wait, come back to me. There we go.
Oh, it follows you.
Wow.
Yeah, I have like a crazy webcam.
Oh, that's
so I already had this.
That's
now
cool, man.
His mask dropped out of his hand. I'm gonna obsess over it. And now, hold on, the camera's gonna follow me too.
Oh,
so the thing about these guys
is, that's gorgeous.
So, but the whole thing is you get obsessed with posing them too. It's like I have to have the right pose with the right hands, the right expression, and the right head. So this is what I do. And it's like, oh, my wife will be like, oh, so-and-so wants to see, your action figures, like the collectibles.
Yeah.
Whoa. With that same
I
face.
call it my museum.
Dude, I mean, I have to come visit you guys. That's what I have to do. Because I see stuff in the background there all like, and I had to get
listen, I would say this: Leo, Justin, Jeremy, just go visit them. Me, boring.
So
Absolutely.
you can see my 3-foot last Ronin statue.
I like that window. Oh my God, look at that!
Wow. Whoa, I almost fell off.
Whoa.
All right, Justin, do the thing. Show off.
See,
oh man,
statues. Those are dope. Oh, and the Fraggle Rock fucking vinyl.
Oh yeah, that whole thing.
Fraggle Rock too. Oh, dude, that is awesome.
Oh man.
Yeah, you wanna tell my wife?
Yeah, I think you have to take out a second mortgage.
I'm in no. Listen, I've already invested just in board games. I've gotten into board games in the last three years, like really hardcore, like mostly Kickstarter stuff and hard.
Nice.
I mean, so the garage, and we have a big garage, and it's
Dark Tower's coming back. Yeah.
Dark. It's great. Such a great game. Yeah, I kickstarted that one. That was awesome. I pledged that one.
And it's so funny because I had this idea for a board game. I wanted to buy a Jumanji, and I wanted to have a sound cue put in it, the drums, and just walk around a con, just wait for somebody to hear the drums and be like, I got to bury this thing. Do you know where I can leave this for 30 fucking years?
That's a great idea, actually.
That's genius.
I just want to, it's the thing is,
Can
I
you
just
hold
want to,
this?
yeah, exactly. I just want to be not like plain clothes so no one suspected, and just walk. And I want to have increase the sound. I want people to be like, "The hell,
dude, that's genius."
Do you hear drums? And then
You've got to
especially
do it,
or you got to leave it somewhere, and you watch someone hear the drums, be like, "Oh nope, 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 no, no, Magic Box, hell no." I've seen what this did to Robin Williams. No.
Oh yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. Now you got me looking at everything. Do I have everything ordered?
I'm like, what should we be playing then as geeks and dorks here for board games? What?
That's a good
recommend.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
I'm
there's so many. There's so many great games. I'm a big Stonemaier Games fan, and Stonemaier has Wingspan, Viticulture,
Wingspan,
Scythe.
yeah.
Scythe is another one. I've become friends with the founder of the company who designs a lot of the games, Jamie Stegmaier. He's a great dude. Puts out amazing games. Those are great. There's a game called Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is amazing. It's great. You should look it up. But there's also one, especially for geeks like us that love tech and all things sort of nerd funny. There's a game called Destinies, and Destinies is basically it's a game that's app assisted. So you have your iPad or iPhone out, or your phone of choice out, and basically it's an adventure game with a fog of war, where as you go progress on the board, you unveil new areas on the map, and everyone at the beginning of the game is given their own destiny.
Oh.
You have a card that tells you what your destiny is. Now, we might have crossover among us. It's a 3-player game, but it's an odd number. And so we're trying to fulfill our destiny, but it behooves you to listen when other people take their turn to what they discover, because we may have some crossover in achieving our ultimate goal. And you're scanning cards into the app, and it tells you what happens when you use the card in the app. The storytelling is great. So for our group, I think Destiny is going to be great.
That's cool.
Awesome.
That's
that sounds really great.
It's like Illuminati back in the day. Reminds me.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's some again. This is a very slippery slope.
Yeah, okay. I'm that guy. I'm gonna push you over the slope. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Have you seen his room? He's there's no slippery slope. He's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I am too. I just hide it well. The camera's just pointed in the one area where you can't see everything. And isn't this cool? This camera does this.
That is
That
awesome.
is-
What type of
yeah.
camera is that?
It's an Insta360.
Oh, nice.
Then they just put out. They have all the action cams that let you take one shot and it covers all the angles. This is their webcam version of it. It's like called the Insta360 Link. But sometimes if I make the wrong gesture, it makes the camera do some weird stuff. So I have to be careful, like sit there like this.
Leo, let's get some more sponsors. 360s for everybody, okay?
Oh, there we go.
Thanks, buddy. All right, cool. Good job.
Walk around the room.
Well, we'll let you go, Mitchell. One last quick question. Justin mentioned his statue there. Have you read Last Ronin?
Oh yeah,
great question.
Have I what?
Have you read Last Ronin?
I have not.
You should. If you're a Turtle fan, you will love that. It's only six issues, guys. Six. Justin,
5 issues.
Five issues. Wow. It's a sad book, but you will love it.
Yeah, Justin's been talking it up forever. We finally just read it, and it is friggin' amazing.
Okay.
And
Done.
short read, graphic novel you can grab from Amazon real quick.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I will get it. I will grab it when we're done.
I'm actually saving up to have Bob do a commission for me.
Oh,
nice.
Ooh,
But,
I even like the way it looks. Dark.
There's actually a new NECA figure that's just coming out as well for Last Ronin.
Don't tell Justin that. No. Don't tell Justin
Like
that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, odds are it's probably a done deal already. But
I got like original production art on the wall, Drew. It's like,
yeah. Mitch, you have to understand. Everybody in this chat has a weakness. We're all so strong, but when someone like above me sees a Transformers toy on sale, or the shell guy, or the clown, or our deep-toned gentleman on your right, we just find that one thing. Now, you Thinny, we just find that one thing, and we're like, it's like, I got time for that. Oh, I have time for that though.
Dude, my dad still sends me the Hess trucks for Christmas every year.
That's so awesome.
Which are sitting right up there on a shelf, surrounded by amiibo and board games. So you got the right guy to talk to. That's all. If you're talking about an addiction, covered in sugar in the cab, that's your guy.
Listen, Mitch, I saw a commercial recently. I was like, they're still making these? I was like, what the hell?
And they're better than ever.
They made
All right, that's it, Justin, get out.
They made a Tonka Transformer this year.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Wow. I was so tempted to get the Optimus, the robotic Optimus.
Oh, the one that
transforms
actually
itself.
transforms.
Oh, they
Or
got
the
a new
Lego
version
one.
that's
Yeah.
smaller.
I was
cheaper.
watching the video
Well-
of that thing transform, and I was like, "Oh my!"
I know. I almost had
Yeah.
to be picked up off the floor. It was so beautiful.
Well, at least you didn't, Mitch. At least you didn't get the Omnicron. Someone's like, "Oh yeah, this is beautiful, $800." I'm like, no.
No, well, that's what the robotic
Unicron,
that's
yeah.
what robotic Optimus costs, $790 or $745.
They wanted
Hasbro
50
Pulse, yeah.
for Eternia.
That
I was
looks
like,
great.
No.
Yeah. Buzz Lightyear though looks good too, made by the same company. That robotic
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear is kind of killer also.
No.
There's a new version of those Optimuses that's coming out. It's smaller and cheaper.
I'm in. The smaller is what gets me because I don't have the room for the big bots anymore.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Well, guys, we give him a lot of food for thought. He's definitely going to go save some money when we're done. So,
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Love to have you back, Mitchell. I work in tech myself, so I'd love to dork out with you some more sometime.
I'd love it.
We'll let you go. Where do you like people interacting with you on social media?
Let's see. I'm on the Instagrams. I think it's Mitchell _M _Whitfield, Mitchell _Whitfield. One
yes,
of those.
you are.
Oh, yes. And that's my sort of platform of choice.
Nice.
And I think it's funny because people try to search for me and think it's going to be all about acting, and then it ends up being board games and geeky stuff and some acting stuff mixed in. So that's what you're in for. But yeah, the Instagrams are the best way to follow me.
Yeah.
Very
One
cool.
last question.
Yes,
I
sir.
see the Xbox controller. What are you playing?
Huh?
I saw the Xbox controller.
Probably
What
an
are you playing?
Xbox.
Yeah, I have many.
Well,
I have an obsession with
obviously
the
an
controllers
Xbox.
too. So yeah, I'm a total Xbox. I have the PS5 also, but I have a Series X in here, Series X in the living room. I'm kind of I've gotten hardcore Call of Duty now, which is hard as an older gentleman because the reflexes
Yeah,
are not what they
kids
used to
whip our
be.
asses.
Yeah, but if
That
you
was,
get the settings just right, if you
That was
adjust
Robin
those
Williams'
settings,
game of choice too.
it's what?
That was Robin Williams' game of choice too.
Really?
Was it?
Oh yeah, yeah. He was
I
big
did
on
not
it.
know that.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
my nephew has taught me, a good game sense in that game, so I'm way into it. But yeah, Xbox controllers everywhere that I customize, on Xbox Design Lab. It's sad.
Do you play Horizon Forbidden West on your PS5?
I have not. I haven't finished Zero Dawn yet,
Oh, look
Wow.
at this.
Okay.
so I can't even make the
Wow,
jump yet. And I don't
are we
want to make the jump till I
exchanging
finish the
gamer
first
tags
one.
soon?
Yeah, you definitely got to finish the story and stuff.
Rich and I are
I
like,
know.
We
No.
need to exchange gamer tags sometime.
And the fact that I have that game as an Xbox guy, it's a testament to how good some of the PlayStation games. I'm not one of these PlayStation's up. They're both great. I just happen to be an Xbox guy because years ago I wanted to play online with my friends, and I'm sorry, but Xbox is always the better place to play online with your friends for years. It's gotten a little closer now, but that's why I was always an Xbox guy and still am.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
help
No,
it.
those
Okay,
guns
there you
for a
go.
war, they both have their good points.
They do, and I
Rock
play them
Band,
both. Who am I
gentlemen.
kidding?
Totally.
Or I have to go eat dinner. My wife's going to
Yep.
kill me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Supposed
yeah,
to
go
like
do
20
that.
Poor
minutes
guy
ago.
back to the house.
You have
Mitchell.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, have a good
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Take care.
It's great meeting you.
Bye.
You guys too.
All
All right.
That was
Well, that was
I had like
fantastic.
a million more questions, but
Well,
yeah.
that's why we have him back for part 3, Turtles in
Yeah.
Time.
that was dope.
it's a good call.
Justin, I saw that face. You're like,
Well, I
oh,
was thinking about it. I was like, how could we make this work?
Turtles in Time.
Gentlemen,
guys, with all the
You're
voice
welcome.
acting that you have on, you're gonna have to get like some sort of fan cast going on where you have all these people on like interacting at some point.
I listen, I was just still stunned. He was like, oh yeah, I saw you walk around busy. I was like, was my plaid shirt that recognizable? And I was like, you did wear the same shirt both days. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Me and Rich did hustle and bustle. I mean, that's
he
the
was
thing.
also where he was sitting. He was right on the end, Drew, and we were right on the end the next day quite a bit with our good friend Mr. John Glover.
That's true. Yeah, Johnny Boy loved it. He's a big Joker fan, guys. Just let you know, big Joker fan, that man. But no, it was because again, I still couldn't believe and it's so funny because I have this weird hang up. I'm gonna get over it, but Rich is the best because the man walks in, he's got the green hair, he's got the purple coat. He'll just walk up to this person, he'll give the card, he'll schmooze, And he's like, all right, Drew, set it up. Let's go. I'm like, yes, sir. Got it. I'm out. I'm ready. I was, we're good team like that. Because for some reason, I can do an interview with anybody, but I cannot bring myself to approach them and be like, hey, if it's a comic person, oh, that's no problem. There's no block. But a celebrity, I'm like, rejection syndrome.
I seen Drew interview a giraffe once. That was amazing.
You're welcome. Listen, that stepladder was really difficult, but let me tell you, that documentary on chewing leaves, wow, definitely put me to sleep.
Hold on.
Just for all our fans out there, Leo, just give me one more second. For all our fans out there, if you haven't seen it, Drew and I were at Rhode Island Comic Con, and he did a fantastic 3-issue interview with Mitchell. So if you want a little additional Mitchell content, check us out on YouTube.
It was really great.
Where it is, Splash Pages. Check it out. Back to you, Leo.
Okay.
Back to you, Leo.
Hold on.
Other side, Rich.
Just real quick, Rich, I just sent you a link.
Yes.
So if you can send that to Mitchell relatively soon, with the new StreamYard, it's everybody has to do their own upload.
Oh, okay.
So if you can send him that link, ask him, if he doesn't mind clicking on it, he'll finish uploading his file to the server.
Oh, great.
If not, I can make do with what we have.
Okay.
But the new StreamYard, it copies like everybody's camera individually. It's really cool.
So do we want to briefly talk about the movie, or are we good? Is there really much more to say? It was.
Well, so let's we can talk quickly about it. And I know we also want to cover a little bit of the news, and I know we are running a little late.
You folks aren't going to talk about Black Panther, right?
No.
Okay, all right, good. Because I'm like, I will have to dip.
No,
Justin, I'm right there with you.
We won't spoil it. What I recommend is everybody definitely check it out when you can. It is a decent movie.
Black Adam.
I think Black Adam was better.
That's what I hear from most people is that Black Adam was better.
You know what, Leo? I've seen where you live. You pick the weirdest hills to die on. I swear.
Yeah.
Don't
get me wrong. I wanted to like Black Adam a lot because it's DC and stuff, but I was like, by the third ending, I was like, please just end.
God damn it, Jeremy.
Please just end.
I haven't seen that either. What the hell's the matter?
Oh, I won't tell you. I won't spoil anything, but I just wanted it to end.
Well, Black Adam's
tonight.
Black Adam's out on VOD tonight, or today actually.
Oh,
fine.
Nice. Oh, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
When's Black Panther out?
Not anytime soon.
That's like 3 months, right?
Yeah. It's normally like 45 days, but
45 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just acknowledge
compared
something?
to what we used to have to wait? That's nothing.
Yeah.
So can I just acknowledge something? It's almost December. Like 2022 is almost over.
God.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Anybody doing Northeast Comic Con?
No.
That's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe so.
Our buddy Bob, I can never say his last name, but I know he'll be there.
Bob,
our friend
check.
Bob. Yes,
yeah.
he will be
that
there.
Right there. That guy got it.
Bob to check. Sorry,
I'm saving up to get a commission done by him. I'm gonna have him do Jar Jar as Shredder.
That's fantastic.
Right? I thought that would be a great idea.
I don't hate that.
I'm a big fan. I wish I had them available right now. They're in my collections. Which, dude, I have to gush. I don't know the word.
No,
my
room. That's right.
I'm sorry. This is the first time in 30, 40 years that I've had a place to display stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
Since I was a wee lad.
Cool.
And oh my God, this is so cool. My wife's lost me. I'm never going to be seen again. But like,
you get that comfy couch.
You're a decoupaging fool in the background.
Oh yeah, I'm decoupaging everything.
Masters of the Universe's sword looked really cool.
Yeah, you like that? Oh, the door's open now, but
yeah,
like I got my swords hung on the door. I got freaking Galactus and the Sentinel holding my Twilight Princess sword. Like I got cool stuff.
So,
I'm like,
Jeremy, I don't know if I had seen it, but did you finish building the Millennium Falcon?
I did. Hold on.
Okay.
I can show you that.
Okay, good.
That was pretty friggin' huge too. I saw him working on it.
Come on, did you see? Justin, you weren't there when he won it.
No.
Okay, I like that man was. Well, to say
making the Kessel Run.
To say Jeremy was ecstatic is an understatement. That man was just so happy. Like,
holy crap!
Look at that. That is
look
just
at it shined in the light. It's just
wow.
I'm sorry that Jeremy. I'm sorry. That's the kind of thing you do the sound effects for.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. When you're landing, you're like.
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm asking.
It's got to weigh like 30 pounds. I don't even know.
Yeah, Justin, you got to pay off at least 3 parts of that statue before you can ask your wife for anything.
Oh no, I paid cash, my friend.
Oh dear God.
Oh, Drew, wait. I already know what I'm getting for Christmas. You're gonna be jelly.
Listen, you just make sure you put some peanut butter on it so you can make a good sandwich. Okay, that's all I ask about your jelly.
It's kind
of
delicious.
Super glue it together. Yeah.
The wife teased me with the Ecto 1 Lego.
Oh yeah, that one doesn't cost as much, but it's huge
no,
too.
not even close.
No,
I couldn't afford that.
Listen, listen. When my parents got me the firehouse, that was enough for me. Like
that is so cool, Drew.
Yeah. Again, listen. I'm not you guys. I'm not Mr. Pond over there. You know, or Mr. Cooper above me, or Mr. Jar Jar. And speaking of Jar Jar, speaking of me,
decades of
collecting. Yeah, I know. But me and Rich tried very hard to meet Jar Jar at Rhode Island, and we were unfortunately unable to do so. I mean,
it's okay.
You know, it was just politics. We really don't want to get into it, but I will say this: from just being near him, he just sounded like the most pleasant, happy person, and honestly, considering everything he'd been through, it's just so nice to see. So like it was definitely like a contact positivity high. I'm
sure now that he's out doing the con circuit, I will get my shot one day.
I honestly, my friend, I hope you do, because well, me and Rich could use a little bit of good news there, because
I was armed with your questions, Jeremy, so I was prepared, and I had one additional one about his performance in Stomp that he did, but his handler just wasn't pleasant and not the most forthcoming, and just gave us a lot of false hope, and then all for nothing. But we don't blame that on him. We definitely blame that on the handler.
Yeah, it was just
that happens a lot.
Whatever. But so let's is there any current news that we want to go over, Leo, before we just briefly talk about TMNT? Or
yeah, so the Doom Patrol will be back on December 8th.
Yes,
I gotta catch up on that.
The show just doesn't go away. It doesn't.
The new trailer just dropped. Let's see. What else did I have here?
Is Brendan Fraser still Robot Man?
Yes. But also
what was that name? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Doom Patrol Season 4?
No, Drew, what is the name of the actor?
Brendan Fraser. No, don't. That's You know what?
Fraser?
It's Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to be consistent, sir. Just trying to be consistent.
Save your continuity for Marvel. So,
well, not the X-Men, but the other books.
Yeah.
What timeline?
So this was big. So for those of you that
the Iger.
Well, Bob Iger's back at Disney. That's kind of big. But this year may be potentially bigger.
Ooh. Is it like bigger than big?
I bet it's about Mephisto.
Oh,
I bet it's about
it's
what about Mephisto?
It's Mephisto, sir. It's Mephisto.
Is it about
Sorry, Fraser.
Is it about Deadpool?
Well, so this began with a little downfall of Twitter. As you know, Twitter's been having issues. So a lot of comic people have been moving to Hive Social.
Yes.
Including a certain James Gunn.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes. So
what is Hive?
So Hive Social, it's a Twitter-like social.
It's kind of like Instagram, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like pictures and
Wasn't
dialogue.
James Gunn like promoting a different one from when we did last week's episode that was a different platform?
He should be doing Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 before he moves on to anything else, I think.
Well, no, I mean there was another, because like now he's talking about Hive, but there was one like a week ago that he was promoting.
Oh, Mastodon?
Mastodon.
Yeah.
They say it's better.
Well, yeah, Mastodon. Well, the problem with Mastodon right now is it's a much smaller company. Hive is larger. And so Mastodon, they don't really have the developers to really expand. So like you can't even sign up for a Hive Social or not Hive Social, Mastodon Social right now. It's like locked down, but you can sign up to other servers. The cool thing about Mastodon is anybody can make their own server. It's kind of like BBS's back in the day. Anybody can make their own community.
Leo, I'm sorry. Every time you kept saying Mastodon, I kept hearing the Power Rangers in the background. Yeah. That's where my brain is. And
well, hold on one second. Just so what happened on Hive Social, James Gunn set up his account, and his banner is Kingdom Come.
Yep.
Yeah.
That coincides with McFarlane releasing Kingdom Come Batman.
You know, I would say anybody who is into comic book speculation and stuff should really look at Volume 3, I think it is, of Justice League. That came out in the 90s.
The Grant Morrison New World Order?
Yeah. I think he's going to be pulling a lot from there.
That'd be great. That's a great run.
Yeah, I mean, there's no arguments here. Bring in some Zariel and Aztec, and it's like, that's a win. Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
can I talk, Leo?
One last thing, just real quick. So there's a lot.
He's like, hold his mouth. He can't.
I killed Kenny. There's a lot of people speculating what DC is going to be doing, but James Gunn also announced, he said the only people that know what's going on is James Gunn and Peter Safran. So apparently they've just been talking.
So they're who we have to kidnap.
And hardcore, because he talked pillow talk, that James Gunn. We
Probably Nathan Fillion. I mean,
go for it, Drew.
So as I was saying before I went full Kenny, that's totally right, Kenny. We got hit with another tragedy most recently this weekend, which was very unexpected. Jason David Frank, aka JDF, aka Tommy Oliver, the original Green / White Ranger, passed away this weekend. He was 49. Very, very sudden, very sad. And by God, I mean, I will say this: in 2022, we in the nerd community have just been pummeled with such deaths. I mean, comics, celebrities. I mean, no year's ever been spared as much as we'd like one year to be like, no death. We're good. Let's have growth, life. It was very sudden. They're still releasing details of what happened. I know the Power Rangers community is absolutely devastated. I mean, the man's tenure in the Power Rangers is amazing. I think he literally was, I feel like he was every color at this point. Very sad. I mean, I got to meet him once to get an autograph for a friend of mine who's a big Power Rangers fan, and really nice guy. I mean, always loved seeing him at cons. His line was the longest.
Yep.
But he really met every fan he could, yeah, I was just like, man, we're taking such a beating. Kevin Conroy 1 week, JDF the next. I was like, my God, 2022, just end already.
Yeah, Drew.
So-
Drew, don't forget, we saw his sign, but I don't think we saw him at all. Also at Rhode Island,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
An acquaintance of mine, Christine Henry, who works with a lot of those actors. She ended up being there, and she said she had a conversation with him, and he was having a sad conversation. I don't know if he lost his daughter or he's having problems with the relationship with his daughter. And then this happened. So obviously there was a lot of stuff that was weighing on him. So blessings to his family and best wishes. And I'm sorry for the nerds that are out there. He's not quite in my wheelhouse. I'm a little bit too old for him, but I can certainly appreciate someone understand.
Well, Rich, do not worry. I will say the best ending for that is may the power protect him as he moves on to the next stage.
There you go.
Yeah. So Justin nodded. So he was like, "That was good. It's a good one."
I was thinking of Captain Power when you said that because I don't know much about Power Rangers. I stopped watching the show when they had show and tell in high school, and I'm like, I can't do this.
The first season I watched as a guilty pleasure with some of my friends when we were high back in high
that
school.
would probably be great.
It was like watching Godzilla almost. It was weird.
I remember when this is my only story with that. I remember I was looking through because my parents started going through the attic finally, where I finally reached that point in my life when they finally did it. So I was like, oh crap, I'm old. And we started going to the toys, and I remembered I was like, oh shit, I had the original Power Rangers toys, and these are the most basic toys in the world.
Yep.
But I'm just looking at it, I was like, man, there was so much
Zero
joy.
articulation.
Yeah, it was Justin, it was a straight bendy arm. Like there was no thing, it was just.
We call those sandbox toys because you probably leave them in the sandbox when you left, you know?
Mm-hmm. But I just saw that and I was just like, man, those toys were the best. But you know,
great memories.
That, and I remember
know his little sword thing there is like worth crazy money.
Saba, yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember also trying to trick my grandparents into buying the Dragon Zord because my parents said no. So I was like, I'm gonna be sneaky and I'm trying to. And my parents was like, "We know what you did. Try doing." The answer is no. I'm like, damn it.
Man, my big score one year was Snake Mountain, and I think that's I've never that was my peak. It's just never been since.
There's the peak of your nerd con man.
That's
G.I. Joe Space Shuttle. I got that thing, and I never got the aircraft carrier though.
My nephew had the aircraft carrier.
That thing's ridiculous.
I'd be going over there every weekend to be like, "Hey,
we're playing.
You know your shipwreck? Don't play with him. He's mine."
That was the same nephew that when I got into Transformers, I gave him my entire Star Wars collection. Being a good uncle.
Oh wow, you're a uncle.
I had.
That's great, man.
I had everything.
I love it.
I gave him my collection. I said, you can borrow it, you can play with it. I just
wait. Hold on, Leo, stop. You Toy Story 3'd your Transformers? Like
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Your Star Wars?
It was when I got into Transformers. I was through with my Star Wars.
That's funny. Toys. It's okay. These are for kids.
I'm guessing that was the
adult toys now.
Did you have to explain the characters to him? Like, this is Luke Skywalker. He fights for the galaxy far, far away.
He knew Star Wars. You know, I thought I was being a good uncle. And I said, you can play with them. I just want them back when you're done with them.
Really?
Famous last words.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, my brother threw them all out.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one. That's Log Ray.
I'm not going to say
it.
He's
my favorite. Wow. Really? Log Ray? Yes.
Wow.
Did you reiterate to your brother that you wished for these to return to you?
No. No. I was a kid at the time. I mean, it was,
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, how old kid are we talking?
Well, it was when Transformers came out. I had to be probably
84.
So 84, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like around 84 to 87, around that time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
I thought
yeah.
we were talking more like the 90s, and you were
No,
like,
no.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
it was,
now an adult now, and I have Transformers, and I can't play with these
No,
toys
because
anymore.
he said big kid, and I thought of that stupid commercial. I'm a big kid now. You know.
you know,
Mommy, wow.
coming from a big family, like my oldest brother, there was a huge age difference. So like, you know, like my nephew we were close in age, you know. So yeah, it was
I
pretty.
bet you your brother's kicking himself now if he knew then
So-
or knew now.
No. My brother's very well off, so he doesn't.
So, Leo, is there any other news that's
Yeah, a couple things. Vincent D'Onofrio says, at least in this title here, facing Spider-Man is a dream end goal for his character.
do it?
For King.
That would be so dope.
They should get Mitch in that with him.
I heard they signed what's his name for like a 5-year deal, right? The Spider Kid.
Oh, Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What else?
We had dropped that Spider News with Rick Leonardi. He gave us the exclusive right there about Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara.
I just love
they're bringing it.
Yeah, and I just love that a celebrity, like not even celebrity, just you're at that point in your life when you can just pull out an email from Sony and just read it to on an interview, and I was just like, look at this big dick comic book energy, like, geez. Like he was just like, yeah, 1 second, let me just, and just starts reading it off, and I'm like,
excuse me while I whip this out.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Kevin Bacon says he will perform a musical number in Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of confused with Kevin Bacon. Isn't Kevin Bacon already a character in the MCU?
No, he's in the Fox. He's in the Fox X-Men universe.
Was that the Fox's X-Men?
Yeah, it was the Fox one.
Yeah,
because you're thinking of Sebastian Shaw. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So we could see him in the Deadpool movie.
Yeah, so that's another rumor going around that the Fox X-Men will be entering the MCU in order to be offed and then bring on a new X-Men group.
Perfect.
Yeah. Deadpool?
Don't bring him in to kill him. There's no reason.
Into Deadpool?
Right now, I've only heard the MCU, and it's totally
like I don't want to watch Sean. What's his name? Patrick there get offed.
You don't want to see his head pop like Reed Richards?
Nah.
I mean, they've killed him in 3 movies now.
I know.
Yeah, we watched 3 different Xaviers die, man. That was rough.
Yeah,
like,
and then
we've seen it.
If you talk about Picard, we've seen him die. How many times did they blow up?
Fine killing him.
Leo.
Picard has killing off the old guy.
The Old Man Logan one was the worst. Okay.
What?
We just watched him die in TMNT again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, come on, Justin. He was an old man in his
funny
bed.
that he was playing that character in TMNT. I have to say, like, I'm sitting there and I'm
Winters?
like, he's so old. I'm like, that. Why is this? He's dead. Why? No.
Speaking of old, they are saying that Indiana Jones 5 is utilizing all new de-aging software.
Oh my god!
They're saying,
I heard.
They're saying he's going to look like he looked in the previous movies.
This is how you know it's going to be good, guys.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big Indiana Jones guy, but you know it's going to be good, man.
Taking place in the 60s.
I'm going to go back and watch those River Phoenix ones. You know, the
those
Young
were
Adventures.
Good. Young Indie.
I
like those.
They're on.
No, Sean William Flannery or
Flattery. Yeah.
Flattery, yeah.
Yeah. Those were great. And on top of it, it kind of served as an epilogue for the indie movie because in that you see him at the end. He's got like one eye. He's giving museum tours and stuff. I was like, this makes sense. This is a logical ending.
Is that Young Indie you guys are talking about?
Young Indiana Jones. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Indie Chronicles.
That is playing on Pluther.
Thank you.
Pluther.
Well, happy Thanksgiving for Justin, everybody.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like, with Back to the Future, Doc Brown showed up in the cartoons.
Yep.
Yeah, for a hot minute.
With the kids.
The kid that was
the actor, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, he did a
Leo,
little intro thing in the first episode.
Leo, speaking of the Pluther, do you watch all those Christmas movies?
No.
I do.
You put an
I try.
insane amount of Christmas movies on there.
I know.
Do you not like Christmas movies?
They're to watch with your
I like
significant
ones
others.
like that are coming out. That Silent Night, Deadly Night. Those are my
Oh,
favorite.
see, I love
Violent Night is going to be amazing. Mark my words.
You guys have lost the
yeah
the wonder of the California raisins. You know,
Oh my
singing
God, aren't they
Rudolph the
great?
Red-Nosed Reindeer. I friggin' eat that stuff
I'm
for
more
breakfast.
like when they're waffling.
Yeah, waffling. Yes.
Yeah, excuse me, Justin. I will take your California raisins and raise you a Garfield Christmas.
Oh,
any
dude,
day.
when they see
So,
the Christmas tree,
you.
and that is
I have
my
the
favorite
three pack on the DVD. We just watched it for Halloween. So yeah.
There you go.
100%.
Justin, we have at our house, we have at this point every year we start watching American Horror Story, the Santa episode.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
With Ian McShane, right?
Yeah, with Odin.
Mr.
Oh.
Deadwood himself.
See, I become a big kid at Christmas time. I watch all of those. National Lampoons is on my TV once a week.
My favorite is actually Scrooged. Preston,
fantastic.
I'll have the California health plate. You know, it's like,
That's
love that John Glover, man.
Oh yeah, yep. There you go.
Jabo says A Christmas Story Christmas is good on HBO.
I liked it.
I've
heard.
check that out.
Oh, I didn't know it was out already.
I've heard good things. I was really skeptical, but then
Has anybody watched the second one?
Yeah.
I heard that was horrible.
Yeah, I mean it's not good.
we knew. Listen, that was just hi. We're doing
I
this for
was
the
a
paycheck.
little worried
Daniel
about this
Stern.
one because of that one.
No,
Although it was
it's
a
unrelated.
totally different.
It's a different
story.
Christmas story verse.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the fact that the original Ralphie and most of the crew came back, I was like, okay, this is a solid leaning towards yes for me.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's what she said. Okay.
Leo, is there any other news before we talk about the movie?
Just real quick. What else did I? Oh yeah. No, I said that already. Let me just check real quick. Double checking. Hold on.
There is a Turtles Christmas special if you're brave enough to find it on YouTube. You know,
Is it a live action one?
It is. It's like the
that's
coming out of your
fantastic.
shells one. So
I will definitely watch it then.
Yeah,
Justin, there's a real Ghostbusters Christmas episode too, and it's written by JMS, so I get it.
Yeah.
You know that one.
Yeah, I watch the He-Man.
He wrote the really good
every
ones.
year.
He did. That was still one of my favorites.
Actually, Leo,
Lucasfilm.
can you get that on Pluther? The Masters of the Universe Christmas.
Listen,
special?
Justin, there's even a Thanksgiving Ghostbuster episode, which is one of my favorites, which I watch every Thanksgiving.
Do you remember like a year ago when I said we should do a Ghostbusters the animated show series podcast? Like I had a name for it, so it's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, listen, I just want to point out, I would be so offended if you didn't ask me. And
I know.
And Rich can back you up on that, because when we interviewed Maurice, and Leo can also back it up because he's seen the interview, like I get so goddamn emotional. I'm literally like, I should have brought tissues. Why didn't I bring tissues to this interview? Be strong. Be strong. Words. Iron will.
And when he did the voice, oh my God, I thought you were going to fall to your knees.
Yeah, I asked him.
You might have gotten a little weak. You were looking a little weak there for a second, Drew.
Yeah, to quote Deadpool, the sun's coming down real low that day.
Yeah.
Oh boy, meeting your heroes, kids, and they do the voices. I was like, the tears. No, I'm sorry, Leo. When you put up that interview, I'm gonna share the motherfucking shit out of that.
So, Justin,
look at this.
What's your favorite toy you got? What would be the one toy that they can't take out of your cold dead hands?
Oh, that's easy.
My giant Hellboy.
Oh, nice.
Whoa, wait.
All right, I'm gonna show you guys this.
The Hellboy over the turtles.
All right, I'm already looking.
Yeah, can you see him?
Where is
there
it?
he is.
Right there in the corner.
Giant Hellboy. That would be the one.
Wow.
Hold on.
That is ridiculous.
That's my Hellboy show.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I actually need to get some bookends because all my like hardcovers and stuff, I don't know where to put them.
That Hellboy was obtained at a Connecticut Goodwill, and it was my now wife, who was my girlfriend, orchestrated the whole thing with some friends and all that. And I live in Illinois, so I'm from Connecticut, but we had like all these people that kind of worked together to get that thing. So the sheer amount that they went through to get me this thing, that would be the one that I'm running in, you know.
Can I also, Justin, I just want to say, whenever we end up doing a crossover with like you and Brandon, that shit's just so goddamn funny. Because it's just literally like imagining, it's like how I imagine if we all sat at dinner. I was like, it's all everybody trying to get the last word and trying to leave before someone sends the check. Like that is just the Dorkening. And the worst part is Leah would always reach first. And we would just be like, get the out of here with that, Mr.
I like that about joining Splash Pages, because I had told Rich this a while ago, but I love hearing like his perspective on the comics and all that, because he's always talking about the villain and how he likes that, and I'm like, that's so interesting to me, because I see the world a different way than you know, other people. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I'm thinking about this like a Ninja Turtle or like a Batman fan, and he's thinking about it like the Joker. So I'm like, oh, dude, that's so cool. You know, it's good. It's good times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but and yeah, and I suggested some really good ones for our last 5 days of 2022. So, boy, we're gonna have some fun. Oh boy,
totally.
That's all I'm gonna say. So, is there really anything to say about? We're up like almost 2 hours. Is there really anything to say about the movie? We talked about it with Mitch. I think we all can agree we enjoyed it. It's not horrible. Like
that's where I would put it. It's not horrible.
Yeah,
I can't watch the Michael Bay one. I can't do it.
No, I like
the second one from Michael Bay is awesome. It's a cool movie.
In this one, the cast was great.
I understand.
The story was kind of medium.
Yeah.
I love the cast.
When the story is focused on the turtles, it's the strongest.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I feel like when it was focused on the villains, I was like, it's a little boring.
I did like Chris Evans' interpretation of Casey Jones, and I never knew that Chris Evans did voiceover at all.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
No. See, what we need to do is we need to review Scott Pilgrim, and then we need to watch the movie.
Listen here, bucko.
Seeing Sarah Michelle Gellar doing April made me respect her more as Tila in Revelations, I have to say. Because it was hard to swallow her, but like she grew on me by the end.
I just think it's funny when I'm watching animated movies, I always do, can I recognize the voice actor? And my favorite was realizing the dude in the diner is Kevin Smith.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just like, what are you doing here? It was the same way I felt when I saw him in Daredevil. I'm like, okay, I know why you're here, but what?
Speaking of Kevin Smith, keep that thought. Hold on one second.
Hold on.
And while I step away for a second, Justin, why don't you tell us how this movie interacts with the original Turtles movies, right? Because this is a direct sequel, right?
Well, that's the thing. I had been on a part of like an interview where they asked that very question. So TMNT is not exactly meant to be a sequel to Turtles 2 or Turtles 3 or anything along those lines. It's kind of like it's the same characters and they don't go into the origins, so it's kind of like got that going. But it's like a spiritual successor, but it would be like we would think of the Amazing Spider-Man as opposed to like the Sam Raimi. Like it's, you know, the same character but not the same, you know, universe.
Right.
Oh,
so there would be a multiverse of Turtles out there similar.
Okay.
This would be like a whole different thing.
For some reason, I thought it was like a continuation of like the 90s movies.
You could look at it that way, and you could digest it that way too. Like he's just saying, like Kevin Eastman just said, it's like it's something that's different and it's out there and it's its own thing. And if you want to think of it that way, you absolutely can. But they never had any plans to, market it that way.
Gotcha. This just came in.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you got a Kevin. I got a Kevin Smith toy too.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It was on sale on Amazon, but it's an Amazon exclusive, so I got the little sticker on it.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Nice. I always, the thing is, it's Christmas is coming up. I feel like if I ever have to buy a nerd shit, I'm just gonna post to you guys like, hey, is this a good deal? And I just feel like depending on what it is, one of you is gonna be like, don't do it. Don't do it. Overpriced.
I love going through eBay. If you ever need help, like finding something for somebody or for yourself, I will sit there and hunt toys for you.
I think I just bought like a box of turtles on eBay for $20.
Listen,
literal box.
Justin, I just want to point out it was so funny because Jeremy was going through his stacks and he sends me like photos of like he has some Ghostbusters comics. I'm like, do you want them? And I'm just like, thinking like, I just stopped for a second. I was like, do I have these? And I was like, 1 second. And I was just like, yep, I'm good. Thank you.
It wasn't until I took the picture of them that I realized that they all connected too. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, hey, look at that.
Listen,
I think I need to get the single issues of the first Turtles and Ghostbusters crossover.
You do.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
I just realized I actually had the #1 of TMNT Batman. That was
like
cool.
Justin, you don't understand. I'm waiting for that message from you that'll say we're doing it. I'll be like, fucking yes. It's the same way I feel.
If we're doing it, we're doing voices, right?
Oh, well, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm very clearly a Ray. So just letting you know that I'm just gonna Ray the shit out of that one. Because some people are like, oh, you're a Venkman. I'm like, no, I'm such a Ray. Just the enthusiasm alone.
Slimer.
Oh no, see, but Jeremy, if you got to do the Slimer, you got to Frank Welker it. You just, you started just like, no, but no. Honestly, I love the crossovers, and I wish, God, I really can't wait till we do the Transformers one. The Transformers Ghostbuster crossover was fucking dope. And it's funny because I keep trying to cover these on Screen Rant. Like I'm trying to pitch the one where they did Mars Attacks.
The Image crossover?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be where the Turtles got brought into the Image universe, but
I know.
It fell apart.
I know, it was so sad. But again, I like this movie. It was entertaining. It was funny. It's not the worst one I've seen. There are ones out there. Honestly, listen, Turtles. I mean, again, I feel like personally multiverse theory has just made anything nerdy is just basically covered because there's literally a turtle, a Ghostbuster, a Star War, singular, one war, a Transformer, or even a Joker for everybody. So if it's not your bag, it's going to be somebody else's. Unless it's Jared Leto's Joker. I don't get that at all.
That's a really good way to look at it, Drew.
Well, I mean, but that's just, the same thing with Batman. There's literally a Batman for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the best part about long-lived characters,
Speaking of Batman, I showed this for a quick second. I tried to get this from my LCS. They just re-released.
Oh,
look, that's a nice reprint.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's our first episode of the Dork Night. We covered that, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys ever just go online and you just look up comics and just see how much they're being sold for and just think, yeah, if I could, or I call it, nope, not in this lifetime.
If you ever looked at my eBay watching, you'd be like, wow, you've got problems.
No, that's fine, Jeremy.
I'm mostly going after variants of Last Ronin now.
Yeah, I sit there and follow trends. I don't even buy them. I sit there and just watch where things land, and I like watching the numbers.
Jeremy, if the nerdy market was the stock market, you would be Charlie Sheen in Wall Street.
I'm telling you, I love it.
Okay.
It's fantastic watching
All
ups and downs.
So,
right now, it's a buyer's market, by the way. And by the spring of next year, I'm going to be buying so many new toys. Oh, it's going to be glorious.
Good to know. All right, so Rich looks like he's about to pass out any second, so I think we definitely wrap this up.
Yeah,
Wrap this up.
We're totally gonna wrap this up.
I'm late for a baptism.
Okay, so hopefully this works. I'm having issues with StreamYard. I think after we hit the 2-hour mark, it starts to get buggy.
Beautiful, Leo.
So I don't know if it's on me or not, but hopefully it is. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. And, I run a little thing called the Dorkening Podcast Network. Just head on over to thedorkening.com. You can see all the latest episodes there. I'm going to try to see if I can move to everybody. And what we're going to do is we're going to rate the movie in Bowls the Turtle Soup. So I'm going to give
son of a bitch
3.75 Bowls the Turtle Soup. And Jar Jar.
Hey, you can check me out over at Comic Book Lovers Buy, Sell, Trade, and Auction on Facebook. Join the other 20,000 fools that are buying, selling, trading, and auctioning off comics and toys and all sorts of other stuff. And you don't have to pay those eBay fees. And I would say for bowls of soup, turtle soup, I would give it probably... I'd be in the 3.5 to 4 range, so 3.75. Great voice cast and story was a little but overall, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Justin.
See, I like the story, guys. It was a little different than normally just fighting the Shredder and Krang and all that. So I'm going to go with 4.5 out of 5. Check out My Turtle Show. We just hit 5,000 downloads. We're actually moving way past that. And
nice.
Epic Tales from the Sewers, and you can find us anywhere that you find wonderful Dorkening podcasts.
Woo woo. Where's the button? Drew.
First things first, I think Leo is such a monster for making it bowls of turtle soup. So, in utter defiance of that, because he's a schmuck, I'm going to go with, I thought this was an entertaining Turtles. While I wasn't the biggest on the villains, I did love all the voice actors. Everybody brought a little something to the table. I thought it was still pretty entertaining overall. So I'm going to go with 4 turtle shells.
Whoa!
Shells. Not soup. And yeah, I'm good. You can find me in places. I've said it enough. I'm not saying it again because I know one of these idiots is going to say it for me. So I'm somewhere. I'm doing something. I'll get back to you.
Well, and just to remind you, you need to serve the turtle soup into something, so might as well use the shells.
Oh yeah,
so thank you for providing the shells
and cutting to Rick.
Did anybody else get a gargoyle vibe from this?
Velvet.
Yes, sir. So thank you for coming in, guys. You know me, I'm Velvet J, aka Rich Davis on Facebook. I'm giving, first of all, Leo, I totally approve of your bowls of turtle soup, and I love your dark humor.
You're a villain.
I am. I'm a villain, a dirty, rotten villain. I leave a trail of blood where I
Jackanape.
So that was actually a camp song my mom taught me that someone taught her one time. Anyway, so yeah, I give it a 3.8 in bowls of turtle soup or tortuga soup, if you will. And yeah, so check us out on Splash Pages. Definitely hit that like and subscribe on YouTube if you watch it there. If not, go there and just do it because it helps us out. And of course, check out our other interview, like I said earlier, with the great Drew Mollo, and I was on camera, also with Mitch Whitfield. And I think Leo is starting to drop some more of the great Rhode Island content that Drew and I obtained for you guys. So we love you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Stuff yourself with stuffing and mashed potatoes and apple pies and ice cream and all that good stuff, and just gain some weight because it's the holiday.
And don't forget to watch all the great Thanksgiving themed movies and cartoons. Those are just as important, everyone. We will be putting with the Dorkening, we'll be compiling a watch list of recommended things in case you get bored and you don't want to watch TV.
Mr. Heat Miser.
Get out.
Yeah, Year Without a Santa Claus. Yep.
Get out. So we'll be putting that up. So keep in tuned. We're going to be holly and jolly because that's coming up. And Cowabunga.
Catch you guys later. Bye. Okay, I don't know if it's going to end on my side. Did the same thing last night
Still
as well.
going on my side.
Yeah, it's still live.
That ought to hold the little SOBs.
So what?
Rich, do you want to hit end broadcast from your side? Or Justin?
Yeah, I can.
A look into